35-year-old novelist Mako has never had a good relationship with her older sister Minori, who always berated her for being different. Due to this, Makoto is not stricken with grief upon hearing the news that Minori and her husband has died in a car crash. But when Minako is asked to identify the body, she runs into her 15-year-old niece, Asa, whom she has not seen in years. As Asa struggles to process her parents' death, Makoto assures her that the complicated feelings are valid, and she, as a teenager, starts writing a journal in a way to cope with loss. Upon learning that no other relative wants to take in Asha, Makoto decides to become her guardian despite her lack of experience. In a world filled with uncertainty, the novelist and the teenagers must learn to live with each other while figuring themselves out. This anime has about 13 episodes. It premiered January 4th to March 29th of 2026. Based on a manga series, genre is drama, demographic is josei. Each episode 23 minutes is rated PG-13. Now, going through this anime, you look at this genre, josei demographic, it doesn't sound very exciting. And I can understand why. But this anime tugged at so many heartstrings, especially with themes being heavily dealt with grief and loss, but quickly expands into the question about identity, individuality, and societal expectations that we are constantly always dealing with, and constantly asking ourselves whether standing out is something that to embrace or to avoid. It also explores something even more uncomfortable, the idea that not everything has a clear answer, and sometimes you won't know what you want or what another person truly thought of you, and that's okay. And that's the best way to describe this anime. The best way this anime feels is intrusive, like the characters are so real that you feel like you're peeking into someone else's private life in a way that shouldn't be allowed to. It's not exaggerated. When I say I'm on edge on the entire time watching this anime, I was completely on edge. And not to say that in dramatic sense, because everything feels so real that you can't distance yourself from it. You're forced to sit with these characters as they navigate the part of themselves that they fully don't understand. You learn so much about Makoto, Asa, and the people that surrounds them, the relationships, their past, their present, their future, and what makes them them. But also, I think this anime tackles the portrayal of grief is one of the show's greatest strengths. It doesn't show the sadness, but it also shows the confusion, the numbness that comes with the frustration, and the unpredictability that comes with it. For example, just give me one example because I don't want to spoil it. Asha doesn't always react in the way you expect. Sometimes she seems fine, almost detached, until something small triggers everything at once. And even as time passes with each episode, grief isn't something that simply disappears. It becomes something you learn to live with rather than something you get over. As the good old phrase you often hear when people are dealing with grief, time heals all wounds, but sometimes it doesn't take time to heal all wounds when it comes to grief, and grief is something a person never truly gets over. Another example, Makoto, who takes care of Asha, who offers a complete different perspective and has been one of my favorite characters. She's someone who naturally stands out. She finds normal human interactions draining because she often keeps herself isolated as a writer, which honestly, there's two ways and often portray writers. Someone who has their life together and also very isolating, and they just don't really go outside their bubbles. But on the other hand, when she does find normal human interactions draining, it isn't naturally expressive. It's very blunt a lot of time, very blunt. But despite being completely out of her depth raising Anna, you can see how hard she tries and the effort she feels more genuine than any perfect parent portrayal. I think another thing to take back from this is Makoto and her sister Minori. On one hand, Makoto embraces being different and lives authentically, even if that makes her stand out, while her sister, Minori, on the other hand, forces herself to conform to expectation to avoid standing out, even if it leaves her miserable. And it's a very honest depiction of how perfection shapes reality. Two people can experience similar circumstances but interpret it completely different ways based on how they see themselves and the world around them. One accepts being seen and the other feels it, and that alone shapes the entire sense of happiness. But I think when it comes to things standing out being different, to just stop there. It expands across every single character that we come across, each offering a different perspective. Some characters embrace standing out, others fear. And Asha doesn't even feel capable of that. She's short, doesn't have a crush on anybody, she doesn't know what to do or what she wants to be, while others like Makoto, Minori, and her friend Imori struggle with being different. also struggles with being like she isn't anything at all, but then that feeling of emptiness is explored. And this anime suggests that for many people, identity isn't something you suddenly find, but something you gradually build by choosing what you want to do in that moment, like live in the present. And I feel like this show, why it hit me so personally, because one, I'm a writer, like Makoto myself, but also in a sense, I'm not isolated from the world, but I have a good friend group. But sometimes, if I'm not with my friend group, I often do feel introverted and happy doing my own thing, even when I feel out of place. But characters like Minori and Asha remind me what it feels manageable for one person can be deeply painful for another. For some people, standing out is freeing. For others, it's something they avoid. It can be terrifying for them. And for some, it's something that they don't even feel they can do. Not everyone relate to individually in the same way, and this series captured that theme and nuance beautifully. The soundtrack is very beautifully. The opening and songs are a nice way to the little background tracks, and I think also the transition between each episode, it's like a book, but in each page is like a little imagery of like a pressed flower or a notion. I think this is a very powerful series that everyone needs to watch on their radar at least once. And you might find yourself crying a bit here and there, but definitely give this series a chance because I thoroughly enjoyed it a lot. And I give it a solid like 8.9 out of 10. And it really had me crying some tears back then that I didn't realize I was holding while watching this series. But definitely check it out for yourself. Link in the comments below, and I will see you soon for another anime review. Until then, bye.